Oh, right.
So we're just kind of teaming up to do this today.
Nice.
Podcasting unification.
I don't
exactly.
like the guys normally, but no.
Ow, it hurts.
Normally we
Okay.
don't.
Remind me to delete this
Man,
page.
we're used to
Stuff.
this. We're used
We
to
don't like
this.
each other at all. But, right?
Oh, yeah, if I could stairs this way too, if that makes it
You want me to
We
join you?
hijacked them for a second. I apologize.
And I am going to then grab you guys another water. I will be right back. But this is.
I know this is like a me thing, but I'm making Gavin sit with me. I hope you guys.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna find you some more water.
So sorry.
On my own.
I'm just gonna set that.
Yeah, together we make excitement.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna set that right there.
Is that good enough?
Oh yes, that's
Okay.
good for now. And like I said, we'll get a voice recorder. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, of course. Ooh, hi, everyone. Hi. Hello. That's my phone. I shall project. Hello.
Is it working?
It's working now.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't know how to.
I can flip switches.
I don't know how to do
I'm the
things.
switch flipper.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Hi. I'm guessing you guys are here either because you might be
It's
fans
air
of some of the.
conditioned?
Yes, because it's quiet. You might be fans of a certain
or that,
game
too.
or two. My name is Melissa Hutchison, and I am a voice actress. And I think most popularly known at this point, I don't even know if that was proper English, as Clementine in The Walking Dead. Yeah, thank you. And we'll hear from her later. And I've also been in other things, League of Legends, lots and lots of Telltale games in general. Sonic the Hedgehog game. I'm in a couple of animated series, and I can now say, I don't know if any of you, or I don't know if you guys are into anime or not. Well, that's probably a stupid question. But I will be voicing several characters in the new Yokai Watch, which will be coming out, and we are recording right now. So, that's me in a nutshell.
I'm Gavin, I'm just crashing. I'm supposed to talk after this, but we thought we would talk together and save y'all a trip. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a voice actor. I play Kenny in the Walking Dead game. And, thank you. Thank you. And other stuff too. I'm in the Wolf Among Us, and I'm the voice of the Furby toy. If anyone cares, probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an evil toy. But and other things too. I do a lot of toys and other games and whatnot. Everything's coming out next year, but mostly we're here for Melissa. I'm just hanging out.
That's funny. So yeah, it's great to be here in Kentucky.
It
It's
is.
hot and humid. I'm from Southwest Missouri originally, so my family's still there, so this is all very familiar to me. Yeah, we're just really excited to be here.
It's a lovely time.
And yeah, I guess, I don't know. This is really a Q&A, I suppose. So
How did you get your start as a voice actor?
Well, Gavin, gosh, that's a long story.
You're on a panel.
Yeah. I grew up always very interested in sounds and cartoons, and all of my stuffed animals had voices. Everything in my life has a voice, basically. It still does, because I'm crazy. And I wanted to be an actress, Gavin. And
I'm going to moderate this panel, by the way.
I eventually, I did musical theater. That's my beginning backgrounds in acting growing up. And in my early 20s, for some strange reason, this little light bulb went off that like, oh yeah, actually let's backtrack. It was probably when The Simpsons came out, and yes, I'm aging myself, because I was very aware when The Simpsons came out. And I put together that Bart Simpson was voiced by a female. And for some reason, I'd never really thought of that, and I was like, oh, wow, what an awesome, cool job this woman has, and she can play a 10-year-old boy forever, because obviously she's not going to go through 10-year-old boy puberty, and her voice isn't going to change, and this is this awesome career, and how much fun would that be? So that was my first light bulb going off as to the world that this could be a job, voice acting. And yeah, later on in my life, I
Before you get off The Simpsons,
Yeah.
can you do a little Bart Simpson?
so me and my sister used to sit around for hours and hours and hours practicing.
So eventually I was able to like come up with his voice, man, and I kind of perfected it. So Nancy Cartwright, better watch your back, dudes.
Thanks. Yeah, I shouldn't say that out loud. Someone's filming this, Nancy. I'm gonna get sued by Nancy Cartwright. She's awesome. She's amazing. I love her. Thank you. Yeah, I just pursued it. I pursued it. I felt it in my heart, and I knew it was what I wanted to do, and I had this weird thing for making voices, and I found out I could get paid. So my story's a little different in the way of, you know, getting started in voice acting. You need to take classes. I mean, you eventually, the goal is to get an agent, because those are the people that find you work. So mine's a little weird in the fact that I actually went to high school with my agent, so I just kind of called him. And he took a chance on me, and it worked out. He can tell you about all that school and stuff, though.
Later.
Later.
So what was your first job?
You guys didn't want to ask me questions, did you? I know you're good. I'm really glad you're here.
I'm just,
Thank
you know,
you.
people probably want to know about you.
My first job was it was a Sega game made by Atari. It was a Superman game. I can't remember the exact one, because I think there were a few. And I literally played like a woman. And it was her falling off a building, you know, getting caught by Superman. Thank you, Superman, you know, and that was it. And I was nervous as all get out, and I
Who was the client?
That was at
Was that for Webtoon?
yeah, that was Webtoon. So that was my very first gig, and in fact, one of my very second games was Magic the Gathering, that's apparently like a big thing
Next
as well.
door.
Yeah, I know. So and that was also at Webtoon. But yeah, that was my first gig was actually in a game, believe it or not.
So how do you get jobs? How does that work?
I have an agent.
But
It's
what
your agent.
but what do they do? Like how does it? What's the process?
They send me auditions. So we have agents, and they send us copy and everything. Even though I've done a lot of work for Telltale Games, I still had to audition for Clementine. There was actually about 3 rounds of that. Do you all play The Walking Dead? Do you know? Yeah. Okay, cool. Who said what?
Both seasons.
And hopefully the 3rd. Remember that? I don't know.
We never know.
Probably not for
Are
me.
you all in fact doing it, sir?
Yeah, it's been announced.
Telltale's doing one.
Yeah.
Are we doing one? We don't know.
I can.
Well, you kind of died.
I kind of did. I hope everybody's played season 2. I died if you killed me.
Yeah, there was an option. There was an option.
Looking at you.
Serious.
He lost his family.
He deteriorates.
He lost his
pretty hard.
family last season. He got over it.
That's right.
Get over
That's
it,
true.
Kenny.
Yeah, but he lost his girlfriend. He lost his estranged girlfriend.
I
So.
cut off her arm. I was
Listen,
trying to save
Kenny,
her.
just don't date anyone.
I know.
It's kind of like bad luck,
It
right?
wasn't up to me. I don't write so much. It says.
No, dogs don't work out
Well,
either.
No.
that was actually in the beginning of season 2.
Yeah,
It's a bad
that was
scene.
horrible. There will be a season 3. I can confidently say that I do believe Clementine's story will continue, because that would be crazy if it didn't.
I hope so.
more of AJ?
I hope so.
Honestly, we know nothing, and I think at this point
They don't tell us anything.
they don't tell us, but they're also focusing on, well, they're going to be announcing it at E3, so I don't really know, so I can't say anything.
Supposedly that's.
But they're making a big announcement having to do with
But that's not
Walking
season
Dead
3.
related.
Yeah,
It's not
supposedly
season 3.
it's something that's coming this year.
possibly a DLC, possibly,
That we don't know anything about.
that we know nothing about.
In season 2, if you left Kenny to go into Wellington, is there any hopes of him coming back?
If I may,
Yeah.
I honestly kind of doubt it, just because of the numbers. When in this spoilers, if you haven't played season 2, but I think the end of season 2, the numbers initially were like 70% of players, killed her. So just based on that, it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, to have him for any longer than to show up and be all, oh, Clem, ah! You know, I mean, sort of, that would, to me, that would be about it. I think it makes more sense, and this is just me hypothesizing, to skip all of that and just flash forward the same way they did between seasons 1 and 2. Flash forward 3 years, Jane's dead, Kenny's dead, it doesn't matter either way. And then it's easy, and then they've handled all 6 of their endings. I mean, you know, that's that.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. I mean,
Seems
the way
like a
they ended it
pretty simple way. Well, I mean, then they only have to handle
way too open.
either 2 locations or Clem's just in some new location. You know, and that also presumes that season 3 will follow Clem, which we don't know. Might follow
Still
AJ.
let a week happen.
I know.
Yeah,
And
we loved him. He's our really good
Owen's
friend
a really
too.
good friend of both of ours, and so he was so bummed. He like showed up for the recording and he was really excited, and then it was like, oh man, it's like 2 pages.
3 lines.
I got
and
8
then
lines.
Death scene.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Read a thing someone was talking about that the Walking Dead game is actually just a few years behind the actual show and the comics. So if the next story would involve AJ, he'd still be an infant, if not maybe a toddler. So wouldn't Clementine, if she survived and he survived with her, which since everyone loves her so much, she would probably be in the game somewhere.
Right.
And she was able to take care of him enough, he would still be there, but you couldn't really play a zombie game as a toddler.
Chewing on bark. Drooling. Yeah.
Someone put a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said that if next season Clementine is in there, there's a chance that just to mix things up so it doesn't get stale, you won't play as Clementine, but you'll play with someone who's around her a lot.
This is all. That's an open theory that could
And
well
honestly,
be. I think it's on the same timeline though.
I don't
they're in
think
the
they've
same
even-
universe.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, presumably, like the outbreak kind of starts when Lee is in the car.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would mean the show is conceivably, I don't know what the chronology of the show is, but that would mean that the game, at least season 1, and then there's a jump of what, 18 months, 2 years, something like that?
Yeah.
And so then,
400 days.
we're maybe, assuming the show is going, I don't even know. I mean, I think it switches,
Well, it was supposed to be like it was only supposed to be like 1 to 3 years. That was it. Like, wasn't a big.
Right.
The whole thing, like season 1 to season 5? Yeah.
No, I mean, like in the game, like.
The difference from the game and the comics.
Yeah,
and the show.
right.
It was only supposed to be like 1 to 3 years. Not much, but still a little.
I presume they start in the same place, just because, the outbreak seems to be happening when Lee's in the car
Yeah.
during the game. So I don't know. But I honestly don't know that season 3 is anything more than storyboarded at this point, if even.
Yeah.
I mean, they're working on Tales from the Borderlands, they're working on Minecraft, they're working on
Game of Thrones.
Which should probably be wrapped pretty soon.
Yeah.
But you have a question.
Did you have a
But
question,
you
love?
rescinded your question.
She rescinded. She's like, I
You
don't
have
like
a
my question
Good
anymore.
sir.
Speaking of Telltale Games, they kind of blew up and came out of nowhere. I know, like, previously they had done some of the Wallace and Gromit games.
Yes.
And how long have you guys
Sam
been
and
working with
I think
Telltale Games?
since the beginning.
Since Sam and Max. Season 2 of Sam and Max. It's like 10. It's ridiculous. I think
For
it's
me,
been
it
like
was
10 years.
Law and Order and CSI, which might even predate Sam and Max. I don't know. Might have been afterward, but kind of around since the beginning.
I
So
know,
yeah, a
like,
long
they
time.
gradually, then all of a sudden they're everywhere.
It was Walking Dead.
Well, The Walking Dead is really what
Sean Veneman and Jake Rock, and
put them
which
on
really
the.
kind of, yeah, it went from being games that were just sort of licensed and were okay. They weren't critically acclaimed,
Right.
until The Walking Dead came along.
Well,
and then
when we
that's
recorded
not
that,
the storytelling.
we didn't have any idea
No,
to how huge
we were actually
this would
working.
become. I knew it was different and I knew it was special. Like when we went in to record and I was reading through the script, I was like, oh my god, this is like, the writing was so amazing and the characters obviously just had so much depth, but we had no idea it would like skyrocket.
And we were working on Wolf at the same time. The first incarnation of Gnome,
Was that
of A
season
Wolf
1?
Among Us, was right in between the first episode of The Walking Dead and the second.
Yeah.
And then the first episode came out and killed, and then they were like, uh-oh. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
they
yeah,
kind of
right.
basically, broke Wolf down and then started rebuilding it. In the red shirt,
Oh, wait,
you had a
wait,
question.
sorry,
on-
hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am hoping that you guys will know this. It's probably a good possibility you don't. It's kind of a two-part question. were very much, it was very well shown and very well said. Krista was pregnant when the game started. Wasn't later. That's kind of pretty much, we have a vague idea of what happened, but we still don't know what happened with Krista.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, this is, again, I know nothing about nothing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we find her in the future. I would like to. I like Krista. I thought she was a good character. So it would be cool if they brought her back. Well, maybe she could take care of the baby. I don't know.
I see that being a good filler right there.
Something,
Yeah.
yeah.
Without being biased, would you have filled Katie?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. But it's hard for me not to be biased, honestly. But you know what? The thing is, here's the thing. In the recording process, season 1 of playing these characters and getting to know them, my Clementine, hashtag, became very, I think that what they went through in season 1 was just like such a crazy bonding experience, no matter how kind of loopy he gets. I think that she still would give him the chance. My Clementine wouldn't, and doesn't. You know, I'm trying to like, not say things because I see you doing the earmuffs. No, you're all good. I just don't want to spoil it for you. But I am also biased because we're like really good friends, and I like working, even though we don't directly work together recording, I like working on projects with Gavin. Yeah.
The black shirt.
Is there a possibility that anybody from the house is still alive?
I would hope so, and I think the guy that shows up at the end, Eric Brock, whatever his name is,
House.
Wheeling
Like
or
the
something.
house?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, wait, you mean like,
When you go back there at the end,
yeah, with Jane? Is that?
I would hope so. It
Yeah.
seems pretty defendable, but that's just
Again, theories, speculation. Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you get like on a new game or like a show or something, and you have the character and you're working through trying to find a voice for that character, like what's that process that you go through to find a voice?
I catalog things. I've just kind of always done that. I've always imitated. I've been like this, like, I don't know if it's like a pitch thing or a hearing, but I'm always trying to like emulate voices. And Clementine, for example, obviously, I have a very different voice. So when I was doing I just kind of, there's a few things, I don't want to name some of them because then that's like, oh yeah, I totally hear that. But I thought of like my little niece and maybe how I was as a child, and there's just kind of ways that kids talk and they breathe differently as well, and different words they say, and I don't know, I became a kid in this voice with Clementine. And it was really important because she had to sound like a kid or else it wouldn't be obviously convincing and people would be like, this game sucks. So,
there's your soundbite.
there's Clem. Yeah, that was like, that's season 1 Clem. In season 2 she's a little bit, older, been around the block a few times.
Stitching her own wounds up like a boss.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no,
She carried her
she's pretty
weight.
badass.
She knows.
Yeah, that transition was very cool, and it was kind of interesting because when they told me about season 2, I didn't know for a while that, I had an idea, but I didn't know she'd be a playable character in season 2. And when they told me, and they're like, she's only about a year old, or she's like 10, 11 in season 2, right? Yeah. But she's like the mentality, and obviously when you're dealing with people like Sarah was like 16, and she was, because of the way she was raised, she was still very sheltered and like immature, and Clementine was like, dude, what's your deal?
You're getting left in a train.
Yeah. But it was interesting because vocally they're like, well, she's like, she's little, but we really want her to have like, she has a mentality more like a strong 16-year-old. And I almost kind of felt like they were trying to guide me towards having her voice sound like deeper. It was a process, and it was weird. And I sent them like 7 or 8 different takes. I was like, all right, well, here's some ideas. And, just going from like right here, And all you really had to do was this. It was just weird, but I was stressing out so much on like getting this older Clementine voice, and then all of a sudden it was like, why was I stressing out?
Well, they were trying to.
I am Clementine.
You were saying they were trying to make her even
Yeah,
older
it
sounding
seemed like
and
they were-
grittier sounding than.
They
maybe
were
you
wanting to
comfortable
maybe
with.
hear some older, but I mean, if I, she sounds like this, like me, it would just be like, what is that? It wouldn't even sound like Clementine with the essence. Yeah, I know, she got some really bad
Carton of Marlboro.
habits in 400 days. Yes, sir.
If the series was to last several more years and the timeline kept progressing.
So one more season.
No, like maybe 5, 6.
Season 10.
And Clementine
So
was
20 years.
sure. And like all the way, and Clementine was present all the way throughout. Obviously, you have to change your voice just a little bit more to go through. But when she finally hit like adult, she was like fully mature. You think you might use your own voice? You think you might come up with something sounding that's sort of more similar to her?
My speaking voice is, I hear my speaking voice and I'm like, and this isn't like, come on, compliment me. No, I hear my
You have a
speaking
lovely
voice
speaking
and I'm
voice.
like, oh my God, I'm like, ugh. There's just a quality. She might sound more like this. There's a kind of an airy thing that she has in her voice that I don't have. So maybe she'd sound like this. That was the first time I've ever done adult Clementine. You're the first people I hear it. Now, yay! You have to tell Telltale to not kill me, please.
We won't let it happen.
Yeah, I know. Rally, people.
Oh.
Yeah, rally, revolt.
supposed to give spoilers like that.
That's not a
Well,
spoiler.
yeah, I know. Well,
hypothetical.
when you're
spoilers, whatever that word is.
in the world of The Walking Dead, no one is safe, unfortunately. I mean, that's what we've all learned is you can fall in love with a character and
Hashtag
see you
OG.
later. Yeah.
Max, if anything you're doing, ask the 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Everyone turns to look at Clem anytime
I don't
anything
know.
you've done.
What do you think, girl?
Severe disappointment. You were wrong.
She had
Serum and go offer everyone alcohol.
she had a couple of moments in season 2. I think when she was squeezed underneath that in the gift shop at the Civil War site or whatever, and then she gets attacked and she was basically just like, you know what, crawl through your own holes. Like, I'm done. So she had a couple of moments of but being the playable character, of course, you're the one that has to do all the dirty work. So, which is fun. You're full of questions. I like that.
The beard.
It's the beard, yes. You need to do this while you're asking the questions.
As far as I'm concerned, you're just as much an important part of the Walking Dead series as any of the TV cast members. Do you think, have they ever offered you a position, even just a cameo zombie on there?
Caterer.
Or, have
Services.
they ever offered either of you
Here,
a
Mr. Reedus.
position as like a cameo zombie, or maybe just like a guest spot to appear in a few episodes and kill you real quick?
No, they haven't.
That sounds terrible.
I would totally do that though.
Yeah,
I would be
sure.
psyched. Are you kidding? Like just like
Really
wink at the camera.
I'd say less of my face be here.
Yeah.
You know what you need to do is wear the hat.
I know, and I know, but then people would be like, I know, right? If she ever loses her hat, they'd at least have the hat make a cameo.
Right?
Something.
I don't think they want to cross-pollinate.
Yeah, we were on
That's
a
what
panel with Robert Kirkman in
Kirkman
New
said,
York,
yeah.
and he's pretty solid sounding at this point of not,
He was adamant.
okay, he was adamant about not
He's like,
crossing the Telltale
They will not.
universe with,
Yeah.
well, although
I mean, he was part
Glenn and Herschel
True.
were in it. I don't know. And they're doing, Telltale's doing things now, and with Skybound, and again, he was adamant, but
Yeah, he
who
was.
knows?
But he was like part of the production of the show. Like he helped write the script and
Yep.
the storyboard and everything.
Right.
So, I mean, why wouldn't you want to incorporate the best of both worlds?
It's his universe. I mean,
It is his universe, but I don't know. I kind of feel like he might.
who knows?
I feel like he might alter his ways with that. I mean, the writing. Oh my God, the writing on this game. If there's anyone in here who hasn't played it, is not familiar with it.
It's good.
It's amazing, and in fact, I love the show. I love the comics. I'm a fan of it all, the whole universe. But the writing on this game is actually sometimes, I think, above and beyond where the show goes. And for a game to literally, and again, I think this is why it was so successful, to literally bring people to tears, including myself. I've never voiced over a character where I'm in the studio, like, having to stop takes because I'm, like, snotting on the microphone. You know, I mean, it was a really powerful experience.
I cry every single time at the end.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Like when he's telling her, what to do at the end, right before he finally shoots him, I was just like, I waited to the very last second just so I can see a little bit more of the two of them together.
Yeah, but black shirt.
Do you think that in the third game they would run into like Bonnie and Orgo?
Orville. Gleaming thing. Orville. Sorry, any chance to do a Russian accent. Yeah, well, I feel bad for Arvo. I feel a little sad for him. Bonnie and... No, that was pretty crappy. Bonnie, Mike, yeah, that's right. I don't know. I don't know if their characters were potent enough for people to really care about them. I don't know. Did you guys really?
They're really just there for glimpses.
We didn't know whether to trust her or not.
Yeah, Bonnie was a little erratic. And
spent too much time with Carter.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if those characters are pivotal enough to bring back, but they could because they are still alive.
It's true. Well, in theory, I don't know. I thought that somebody had said that they were not, but it just was something that didn't happen on camera.
Well, I remember because I played it again because I was curious. I was like, wait, did they die? But then in the truck, Clementine asked you, Kenny, what happened? And they were like, I think they got away, or they left, or they're gone. I think just like they're gone, whatever that means. But it's kind of open-ended.
You've been waiting, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Do you think in like maybe the third, or if they do a fourth season, do you think at the end they might kill off Clementine?
Maybe.
Because she's kind of been getting lucky so far.
Yeah, I don't know. There's it depends.
I think probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Just to have a.
I don't know. I don't want them to.
Something that would
I don't want to
finish
answer that question.
her story, but
Yeah, it would just depend on how long they want to continue the franchise as well. I mean, I can't imagine if it's so successful why they would want to stop, because money is a good thing for businesses. So.
I mean, now with AJ coming along, we might move on.
Who knows?
Sure.
The AJ story.
There's a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah,
in that universe.
so much.
Carter's character, he was the ultimate definition of a psychopath, along with the stranger, but I don't think the stranger could knock Carter at all.
Voiced by Michael Madsen, by the way, for those who
Naturally.
didn't know.
You want a psychopath.
They were both equally threatening, but which one would you be more intimidated by?
Say it again, by who?
By either the stranger or Carter?
Stranger.
Stranger was the guy that had the phone that was kidnapped.
The duffel bag with the head. Sorry, I got grossed out thinking about that. What was the question again? Which one freaks me out more?
Well, which one freaks you out more? Which one do you think Clementine was more,
More like in danger with?
Yeah.
Probably duffel bag man. Because that's pretty bad.
It was also really early on. She wasn't as trained and used to it. Everything.
Well, yeah, she like sought this guy out. Now she would never do that. She'd be like, yeah, I don't know who you are, dude. No way.
After Lee died, she was with the other lady forgot.
Kristen.
Yeah, she was with Krista for like over a year. So, and they'd stay away from the city. They were pretty much in the woods the whole time. So she learned to survive a lot more than when she was pretty much coddled as much as possible. Since she was so weak and frail and little.
Well, she wanted to find her parents.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to. If someone was like, "Hey, your mom's in Savannah," I'd be like, oh, "God, I gotta go find my mom." So it was easy to get frustrated that she ran off. At the same time, she was convinced that her parents were alive. But duffel bag man, yeah, because Carter kind of like the governor in a sense. Seems like maybe at one point he was I don't know if he was ever a normal guy. He was probably a jerk from the get-go, but that was more of a cult bully mental leadership type of thing. The other guy had just like he done did lost it. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I kind of had this stark comparison between him and Kenny.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
Oh really?
Well, here's a fun fact.
That's not my Kenny.
When originally when they told me about season 2, Kenny was going to be the Carver character. He basically he was going to go crazy and he was going to be the villain, which didn't fly for whatever reason. They threw it at the wall and it slid down.
That was like the best reunion ever.
It was a nice reunion.
That was really good.
But yeah, that was originally when they were telling me about it. That was when it was going to happen. True story. You, sir, have been waiting a long time.
I know I keep sidetracking The Walking Dead and just talking about Telltale Games.
Please.
How long have you guys worked there for a while? What was the first game that you guys worked on?
Together?
Together?
Were you on Sam and Max?
No. Were you in the Law and Order or the CSI games?
No, and I really wanted to be. Back to the Future?
Nope. Not me.
Pencil Agent?
Nope. Not me.
Walking Dead?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I got it. I think it might have been Walking Dead.
Probably in it?
Yeah, we were
I
in
think I
Walking
was in
Dead?
it. I think so.
The Wolf Among Us. We're married in The Wolf Among Us.
I'd have to check my pay stubs.
Yeah, that's, I think The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
randomly. Yeah.
What was your approach doing 2 different game genres, like Walking Dead with Long Island 2, League of Legends?
Oh. So, just recently, League of Legends, when it first started, was like 8 years ago, I think, when I did the first Ash lines. And it was literally, I mean, whoever plays the game, you'll know, she says about 6 minutes. So, yeah, and like a ha 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 ha, one of those lines is like a laugh. And I had no clue that this, our friend Adam Harrington, years later, was like, hey, were you guys on this game? Yeah, League of Legends, and I don't know, because it was a long time ago, and he found the voices on the YouTube clips, and he's like, is that you? I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. And he said, do you know how big this game is? And I was like, no. And quickly found out. But I just recently did, Ash, they added lots of lines to Ash, and I recently voiced a new skin for Timo.
Did you really?
I did. As apparently I do. I don't care. And the difference being, a lot of the, not just League of Legends, but a lot of games are literally, you go in and it's like, battle commands, and then, long death scene, short death scene, you know, those sounds, and then you're out. And then you're like, oh wait, did I do that game? You kind of forget.
You're there for 20 minutes.
You're there maybe an hour. I did some recording for Rift recently, and I was there for an hour. With Telltale, it's like episodic. It's like doing an animated series. And there's so much dialogue, obviously. And you really, and story paths and character development. I mean, there are some games where you're like, you say a line, they're like, oh, no, you're supposed to be dead. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
what
You're really angry this time.
Oh, okay.
You hate that guy in this line because he didn't give you
what's going on in
donut.
the scene? Just say the line. You don't need to know.
Give me a donut?
Well,
What a monster.
different story paths. Like, for me anyway, Kenny had like lines where it would be like, no, you hate him because they didn't give Duck a cracker. So you're angry with him.
But now you're happy
telling
because
him
they
that
gave Duck
you
a cracker.
will let him on your boat because he gave Duck a cracker. But you're mad at him because you didn't kill Larry with the salt lick when he wanted you to. So it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, with me, the first time I played season 1, I was like best friends with him the whole way through. Like I supported him on everything.
And you made one wrong choice.
And just with that one, I decided I don't want to try and kill him. As much as I hate this very annoying old, not a 18 plus panel.
It's not? Okay, I'm glad you pointed that out to me.
As much as I wanted to kill Larry, I tried to save him just so I could try and keep a relationship of some sorts with the daughter. And because of that,
I know what you were thinking.
He was so pissed at me for the rest of the thing. I was just like, dude,
well, he's an angry man.
Yeah.
Larry has an anger issue.
I mean, I helped him kill his kid. I thought that would at least make us even.
Yeah, he was just angry, and Lily, unfortunately, because of him, she was kind of angry. They were angry.
Really angry.
Yeah, but she had
Really,
potential.
angry.
She drove off in the RV. She's gone.
Alright, way in the back. Black shirt, sorry. You, Mr. Man.
Do you think that there's any chance that they will tell how Kenny got out of Savannah?
No,
Yeah.
I don't. I would like it, but I don't see it happening. People have said that they would like to tell that story, but I don't know.
That would be awesome.
We'll see.
And-
But I am not crossing my fingers. But I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom, so I never.
He really is.
I'm really doomy and gloomy. So
Nothing will work out.
Considering the breadth of the licenses that they have, everything from Homestar Runner to Jurassic Park.
Homestar.
right.
What franchise would you like to see them get licenses for, and what sort of character would you like to play?
Time Bandits. I love a Time Bandits game, but that's just me.
That would be really
Infinite
cool.
possibilities. Literally infinite possibilities. But that's just me. I'm a huge Time Bandits fan.
Are y'all just conjoining y'all's panels?
What?
Are y'all conjoining y'all's?
We didn't want to be
Yeah.
alone.
That's fine. I just need confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We don't want to be alone. I don't know. I said this once, but then I realized that, that's not really like an ongoing, or it's not episode based, it's not a comic, it's
Somebody
not a
proposed
series.
a League of Legends.
Yeah, I know, someone just recently.
Was it the same
proposed
guy?
that.
Yeah.
I want them to do a Goonies adventure, but I'm a huge, I was just at the Goonies 30th anniversary in Astoria, Oregon.
From what I'm told, it's
Yeah.
Oh my
Hannah
God.
knows. Goonies never say die. Anyways, sorry.
Something you might be interested in, there's a video on YouTube called Things You May, or Things You Don't Know Probably. They did an episode on the Goonies, it's 7 different facts. You might be interested in checking it out, it's only like 7 minutes long.
Okay.
But like one of the things is like...
The octopus?
No, like the water where the ship was in, where they had to all go through and dive.
Yeah.
Right. The octopus.
There wasn't, the water wasn't clear enough the way they wanted in the movie, so they put all this dye in there. So when all the actors jumped in, they got out, it would be like sneezing blue and green.
Blue.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah, that sounds about. It is very blue water.
They're kids.
Yeah, I
They'll be
know.
fine.
They're
It's
sneezing
only
blue stuff
lead.
anyway.
They probably
That's what
loved
kids
it.
do.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
they're
sure. Can
excited
you
to work
imagine?
on it.
It's like my dream job. Build a time machine and somehow go back and be in Goonies. Yes.
And then it's me.
I think it's going to take long, but did y'all have any favorite lines to say in League of Legends? Like with the jokes and...
In League of Legends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a baker. I like that one.
Yeah, Ash isn't really a comedian. I think when we did the newer lines that she did, they added jokes, and some of them it almost felt weird because it's Ash. She's
Pretty
kind
serious.
she's not.
Serious
She's
business.
kind of a serious character, so there's nothing that stands out per se.
Yeah, Pantheon had funny lines. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
That was the only way I remembered actually being that's what it was. Was like Adam Harrington was either showing stuff to me or I was just going through every champion listening because I was like, I wonder. No, that's not me. No, and then like the Baker line, I'm like, that is me. I remember that line. I had no idea otherwise. Because, again, it was one of those things where you're there for an hour, like 5 years ago. It's like, I don't remember.
Well, I didn't see any art. I don't think I even saw any concept art. Maybe I saw her character.
They usually have like, in those particular sessions, back to that question about, how those lines are different than like The Walking Dead because they are like movements and efforts and stuff like that. It's all very formulaic. But they will have like little cutscenes, like little QTEs of the, like some of the special abilities or something like that. So you can do ADR, which is like dialogue replacement, where you'll time your, to order to fit in with whatever the little model's
That was
doing.
pretty good, by the way. You should be a voice actor.
I should. But yeah, that was just one of those things where you don't remember because, we're blessedly busy. So, I don't know what I was saying last week, let alone what I was saying 5 years ago. Not
2
even a
minutes
clue.
ago.
Something will come out or somebody will say, yeah, such and such and such, and I'll be like, who? Even like, some of the things we've been doing recently, it'll be like they'll play like an old line, and I'll be like, I don't even remember doing that line. Scott was saying the same thing. Like, I don't remember recording that.
Yeah. Sure.
Harley?
Sorry to bring away from like gaming stuff, but do you have any like tips for people who are wanting to go into voice acting?
I was just going to say, this is probably Gavin's panel at this point. Gavin,
Hi,
why don't you tell us about getting into voice acting?
You got 17 minutes, man.
17 minutes.
I would say listen, because there's voiceover all around you in every aspect of life these days, and it's only becoming more prevalent. You know, even things that are like, you know, Siri, stuff like that, those are people, you know. I've recorded one of those type of things, you know, where you record, you know, infectious hepatitis, he shouted heartily, so they can chop it up and then make, you know, individual phonemes, you know, they can chop it up and make it sound like Main Street to your right, or whatever. But so you just listen, hear what works, because anytime you're hearing voiceover out in the universe, somebody probably got paid to do it, even if it's terrible. And if it's terrible, then you can go like, what's terrible about it? And then you kind of couple with what you hear with what your strengths are. You should always focus on whatever you as an individual bring to the table. If you can do accents and you can do, that was my thing. So like, I only started doing this. I probably work more doing my own speaking voice like this, you know, but we're more energetic. You know, I don't sound, you know, I sound probably more excited in commercial stuff. But I never really thought I would do any of this because I was always like an accent guy. I always like walked around the street in my house, you know, as a kid, just speaking in accents, like a weirdo. And so I never thought I would work, you know, like do like copy for hospitals and stuff like that. But that's one of the things I do the most, which is bizarre. But you know, just sort of knowing what your strengths are and focusing on those, and not being afraid to try new things.
It's also, if I'm like interject.
Please do.
It's acting. You know, we get this question like, you guys do like real acting?
Don't you want to be an
like,
actor?
It is very much, I would never punch anybody, that was just, you know, caricaturing. It is acting. So, and it's in fact, you have to be more refined with it, because on stage, people can see if you're angry or really happy, you know, and behind a microphone, and with just your voice, you know, you have to portray all those emotions, you know, and you're still physical. I still move around a lot. During like pain scenes, like the sewing of the arm, I woke up the next day and I had bruises on my arm because I was like literally, yeah, I mean, you have to like feel it. So one of the things, especially if you don't live in a place that has a huge voiceover industry,
Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago.
San Francisco.
That's the second.
Anyways, just acting, I mean, musical theater is my background. You know, if at your school there's theater programs, community theater, any kind of acting class that you can take. Because a lot of places do specifically offer voiceover classes, so if you can go to those as well. And the only reason that is really good is because you learn how to be in a studio, be behind a mic, get direction. It's, you know, very specific. But if you don't have access to voiceover classes or studios or anything like that, just anything local, any local acting class.
There's lots of seminars on the web now too. There's a lot of, you know,
a lot of voice actors will actually
on the internet. Some of our friends do them as well.
Yeah.
Classes are also very important, I found, for knowing how to approach different kinds of scripts. Because a video game will look very different. It'll look more like a film script in some cases. Like a Telltale script looks like a screenplay.
Right.
Whereas like a League of Legends script is like an Excel doc.
Right.
It says like, here's your movement line, what the line is, and it might have some other direction like angry or, you know, taunting or something like that. Like a toy script, which both of us do a lot of, will have, you know, a line with like a weird slash because they're going to do what's called concatenation. So like when you're playing a game, touch this button to repeat a question. They'll have them so they can cut those two things together. So you'll just say, when you're playing a game, you have to make that feel like it's going to go into something else. Not like when you're playing a game, touch this button to repeat a question. Then it's just going to sound like somebody Frankenstein that together. So different scripts will look totally, completely different. You know, so you know, classes are very important for knowing how to approach those different things. And it's just a different approach. You know, you'll approach a toy or a game or, you know, totally differently than like a narration for a TV show or for a, you know, for a medical product. You know, they don't want it to sound like, you know.
It's also good too, because being a voice actor, and good lord, I was definitely, I'd go into studios like, you know, in the beginning, just like freaking out. I was like, oh, there's like 6 people staring at me. Oh God, they're judging me. You know what I mean? And I just would like, you know, it's so different. I've been doing this for 15 years, and like, wish I could go tell that younger me just to, taking classes and reading copy. Just even if you're friends, you don't have to take a class and pay money. Just, I don't know, just read stuff in front of people. Is being uninhibited. And you really have to be able to like cut loose and not care, like when, all right, we want you to be a, I don't know, 3-toed sloth that's on value.
Now you're
you
on fire.
know, you have to be able to do that in front of people and not feel
Now
like
you're choking on your own blood.
Yeah.
Now you're being electrocuted falling down an elevator shaft.
Let's do this.
Now you're
fun.
drunk. Now you have a list.
Anyways, you have to be able to like, you know, so it's that's why the acting classes and getting out in front of people is cool, because then, you know, you just to get past that hurdle. I mean, some people are just, they don't care, they don't have that, but I was kind of introverted in that way of like, oh my God, I'm gonna look so stupid, and you know, so you have to like, so that's also cool.
It took a long time to get out of that nervous
Yeah,
space.
no, it
I
did.
still get nervous
And I'm
if
like,
I
man, I
take,
could have done that job so much better.
if I take classes, I still get nervous in the class for whatever reason.
I do
But I haven't been nervous at a job in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
It just, you know, you're there for a reason. They
becomes
hired
your
you.
job.
As long as they didn't make a mistake, and then it's pretty clear because they'll play back your audition and you'll be like, man, that's a woman. That's totally not me. I have no shot at this thing.
Or sometimes you'll see them like, okay, great, and they turn off the mic and you're in the studio and all
Yeah.
you see are these people like shaking
They
their
get on
heads
the
and
phone,
going,
pick the
and I'm
phone
like,
up,
oh
and you're like,
no.
"Oop, time to pack my stuff up." I had a job like
What are
that.
they saying about me?
So I once had a gig where it was something, and it was one of those weeks like we've had in the past few months where I might have 3 or 4 jobs. So I'm starting at 9 and then going to something else and then going to something else. This was the end of the day. It was like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening. And it was some video game for, it was like alien speech. There were no vowels. It was all consonants, and it was all this like, you know, sort of thing. The client was in the UK, and like, we start, and he wanted something really, really low, which I don't really do anyway. And at the first line, he just started laughing. I was like, that's a bad sign. And we ended up doing like a full hour of that. You know, it was supposed to be a 3-hour session, and then he like wanted to talk to the producer. He's like, can we just mute the mic and can I just talk to Nick? And I'm like, I'm going home because this dude is totally not gonna buy
It
this.
happens.
So at least it happened at 5 o'clock on Friday.
Right. Yes.
From what I've read and heard, the way studios work when you're doing the voiceovers, you're usually doing it by yourself. But I've heard some directors and producers prefer to have actors who are talking to each other in the same house. They get more of a connection, emotional feel. Is that, which way do they do it with the games that you've done at Telltale, and if you've done both, which have you preferred?
I would probably say for both of us. I did an animated series called The Space Racers, and we got to record together, and it was like, it's always gonna be better if you can bounce off the other actor, whatever the situation. That's ideal. With Telltale Games, there's so many different dialogue branches and choices and all that stuff. I mean, it just wouldn't. It would be way too complicated. It would be way too much time. It would cost probably way too much money to have us all in at the same time.
It was tried.
On
a project I'm not allowed to speak about, but
yeah, it's you know, the director that we had working with us on season 1 and season 2, Julian Kwasnowski, is amazing. He's an amazing actor as well. So he wouldn't just, we'd get the lines read, and in fact in season 2 a lot of people recorded before me, so I was able to at least hear them say their lines, and then I would just go right after the line. But he wasn't, you know, like, Clementine, go get that stick to stab in the zombie. You know, he was, because a lot of directors will try to line read with you and you're like, I'm not feeling this. He was really good. He would even kind of do the voice and get the emotion down.
He does a pretty decent Clem.
So, did he really do Clem?
Oh yeah, absolutely, every time.
That's funny. So that made it easier. But yeah, we record alone, and sometimes it is confusing. For context, it would be better to have the emotion of the other actor. But again, in season 2, I was able to at least hear the other people, so we kind of worked together.
I've done games where we've done ensemble casts, and yeah, you get just kind of a better. There's more improv. It works really well in some situations. Like I've done military games where it's been like a squad that's pretty much together the whole time, and that works pretty well because you know we were mostly doing it wasn't mocap, they called it vocap, where we were wearing microphones, these weird like mounted on this kind of wire thing like a headset. It wasn't like a proper headset, but it was like a nice mic mounted on like a stick in front of your face, and basically they wanted to capture what this sounds like when your head's moving around. And it was cool. And, you know, we got kind of probably a lot of really good improv, you know, whether or not they're going to want to use it, I don't know. But I mean, because you could riff on whatever the scene was. And I know there are a lot of studios, I know Naughty Dog does it that way, and I think a ton of what they use. Yeah, they're doing everything on a soundstage where they will be acting together. Yeah. And the lines will be memorized because they'll be performing the scene the whole time. And I think that they'll use a huge amount of what's improvised, just because, you know, if you've got Nolan North, you know, sort of working, he's a raconteur, so he's basically going to kind of go and tell a story while things are sort of happening, and it just becomes part of the character. Then it just, you know, it's different. You know, I mean, there's still a lot of improvisation that we would do. I mean, I would quite a lot, and just little things, you know, because we'd always do like a set of 3 for each line, and I would always kind of improvise usually the third one. You know, the first one you would do as written to cover maybe one emotion, the second one to cover a different emotion, then the third one just improvise, you know, and it would just be like making it, instead of Clementine, making it like Clem or Sweetie or something like that. Just little things to make it sound more colloquial or something like that. Some writers are open to that, some are not. It just depends.
Well, I mean, I've heard interviews from a lot of other actors that have done more, they've talked with the other actor in the scene. A lot of people think they prefer that. I can understand your point from, you know, there's just too many lines of dialogue with the dovetail stuff. Regular games, a lot of people do that like all the time.
I think it's just
cost.
Yeah,
costs a lot
they
more.
want one actor to come in and just get it done in an hour. And,
yeah. I mean, we could do 500 lines in an hour, you know, depending on the director or something like that, or more.
Because if they have to direct different people.
But yeah, you've got people together, and then maybe one person is not really on, is on as the other, or vice versa, something like that.
More
it just takes more time.
Money.
Yeah, more
all
expensive.
money.
You
You know.
it's not just, I've seen it where like one person will be like voice recording in like New York City.
Oh yeah.
And another person will be like in San Francisco or something.
Season 2 of The Walking Dead was, I think we were the only, whatever, it was San Francisco, LA, Atlanta, Chicago. Sarita, I think, is from Chicago.
Yeah, there are people just all
everywhere. Yeah, I haven't even met most of season 2 actors, actually. I'm like,
and Scott was in LA, Scott Porter.
Yeah, Scott and Madsen, obviously, in LA.
Yeah, they record them down there, so.
Green shirt.
Yeah, I was going to ask, after you've done like acting classes, theater studies and stuff like that, how do you get auditions and agents?
Well, so
that's the tough part.
It is the tough part. Well, okay. One of the things, eventually, if you really want to make it like a solid career, you are going to have to move to a place where you can do that. And that's one of the major, Chicago, New York, LA. LA, I mean, obviously it depends. A lot of people just want to do commercials and narration stuff. They can go to New York. You know, if you want to be in animation, games, all that, like LA.
You want to do everything, San Francisco.
Yeah, if you want to do it all, San Francisco. It just, you know, if you get to the point where you really are like, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to like pursue it. And that's what you have to do. It's an interesting career. A lot of people, you cannot be half-assed, pardon the 18+ thing. You have to like just make the decision and go for it, and you have to have crazy availability, because your agents will call you and be like, can you be in Burbank at 10 a.m.? Yes, I can. There's not I have to work. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to figure it out. But if you get to the point where you really are interested in it's what you want to do, it would be wise to look into moving towards one of those markets. And all of those places of which we have named will have working voiceover actors who run classes or actual, there's a few classes, studios that teach it in San Francisco. He actually met our agent by taking classes at what's it called? Voice Tracks. Oh my god, I forgot. Because agents will come in and guest teach these classes, and that's how a lot of people, or you just go to high school with them. Just kidding, sorry, spoiled brat. Yeah, it's tricky because you do need the agent. There are things like Voices 1, 2, 3, and there are online voices.com, but to get the meaty stuff, to get Marvel and Disney and all of the Nickelodeon and all the big games, you will need representation. So it's a matter of really just honing in on how bad you want it, and then once you do get to one of those places, take those classes and just start what's the word? Marketing yourself. What's the word when you have to sell, promote, network, all of those things. Yeah.
And it's tough. It's not an easy job. It's difficult to get work. We're both very fortunate in that we work a lot. But, I've been doing this for 11 or so years, 12 years, and it took a long time for me to be doing it full time. I don't think I was doing it full time until about 5 or 6 years ago. And it's difficult. The reason why I think we both work a lot is because we can do lots of different things. So in a given week, I'll do a game or two, maybe some toys, some commercials, maybe some corporate narration, stuff like that. So you have to be willing to do all that kind of stuff. You can't be picky and be like, well, I'm just going to do
I just want to be in cartoons.
This one accent, in video games or something like that. Because it's just, no, you're going to have to do like big data videos. I mean, I do those every week, all the time. And they're boring, but for whatever reason, they keep hiring me. So, but it's just one of those things. You have to be able to do hospital commercials in order to work consistently. At least in the market that we're in, San Francisco, where there's more corporate stuff, less video game stuff, almost no animation. You have to have agents in other places. And then you get to that point where once you're represented in one city, then you can start looking for agents. This day and age, it's so easy to be networked. Because, I do sessions from home with clients in LA, with clients in Indiana, just because I have a setup at home where I can do that. Indiana. Over there. But, Fort Wayne. But it's just something that you have to be able to, it's easier to do these days to be, represented in different places, and it's important because it's just more opportunity.
Yeah, that's also a point too, is once you kind of get your foot in it, we used to have to go into the agency, and some agencies in LA actually still like you to go into audition, but most of the auditioning and stuff is at home. So there is a little bit more freedom
Which is awesome.
with that.
Used to be, yeah, you'd have to be
You'd have to actually go into the agency.
It's every day or something. If you're lucky, every day. To be there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
For me, that'd be an hour drive each way.
Right.
But, part of the deal.
Matt Dunn.
Sorry to ask, but I have another panel after you do. I was wondering if you guys are doing autographs.
We are. Hannah knows.
Fourth.
Okay.
Hannah knows.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's me downstairs. That table, on the far.
It's
Next
like
to the food
literally
court.
in the lobby.
And get a piece of pizza.
Oh yeah, for the lobby. Yeah, thanks for coming to the panel.
I heard an interview from this one actor. He does television movies, stuff like that. I don't know if it's the same as what you guys deal with in voiceover video games, but he says that's when you
auditions?
Yeah, auditions, sorry. That he finds it very impersonal and kind of judgmental. That you walk in there, you walk into the room and you see a whole bunch of people that are basically looking, or I guess your case, sounding a lot like you. And then when you finally make it into the people that are going to be judging you, it's just a table of people just observing everything you do, everything you say, and it's just, it can be really harsh. Do you feel that way sometimes?
You know, there are so many perks to being a voice actor.
Yeah.
We don't have, you know, when I walk into a studio, I don't like look at another person like, I wonder what she sounds like. You know what I mean? Like there's. Yeah, yeah, I know. I could probably voice a better girl child than she can. You know, we're actually, it's really cool.
There's still some of that.
There's still
in LA, there's casting calls like that where you go, but you know, you're only there for 5 minutes.
Well, there's more of a camaraderie between voice actors as well. It's really supportive. Like I've definitely been up for the same roles as good friends of mine, and that's kind of painful when, you know, obviously you're like, damn, I really wanted that, but then you're like, oh man, but I'm so happy that this awesome person got it.
Yeah.
You know, on camera work is, you know, we're spoiled rotten. I mean, like, this is fancy for me. I go to the studio like a schlub in pajamas. I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to like hair and makeup and all that
no
stuff.
Grooming and audio.
Yeah. So there's a really, the voice industry and most everybody for the most part I've met who does it's a really supportive community. So if anything, I would go into an audition where, you know, where they still had us all come in and probably make friends as opposed to like size someone up. So that's one of the reasons that a lot of people ask me like, oh, do you want to do like on camera? I miss physical acting in that sense of performing in front of people, but I don't know, that aspect of it is, the whole Hollywood scene is a little, I don't know, kind of goes against some of my core beliefs as a human being. I just got spiritual. You know what I'm saying.
It's an 18 and under parent. So.
Yeah, I'll start crying. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, so it's pretty different. We don't really get all judgy with each other. Unless someone's a jerk and then you're like, that person sucks. But that's just because that person sucks.
Yeah.
And they might not be able to help that.
Would you say like it's basically the same with like, you know, it's voicing in video game, voicing as a person versus voicing like TV? I mean, it's basically the same, but it's still sort of different.
Yeah,
it just depends on what sort of TV you're doing.
Yeah, if it's like a commercial, I mean.
Not like cartoons.
Oh, well, the cartoons are pretty similar, honestly, to the work that we did with Telltale.
They're often zanier, though.
Yeah.
There's still some more. These days, I think cartoons are more down to earth, where they're more real, so to speak. They're not looking for crazy voices. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is there's still crazy voices where there are not as many crazy voices in video games, just because you know, a cartoon, you're exposed to it for generally like 22 minutes or 11 minutes, just depending. Whereas like a video game, you know, you might be, you know, subjected to that character for 60 hours or something like that for thousands of lines. And so it has to be tolerable, you know, whereas like in a cartoon, you know, you can be zany and sort of pop up every now and then, but it may not play as well in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, but animation, honestly, that's why I got into voiceover acting. You know, when I started doing other kinds of scripts, I was like, oh yeah, like commercials pay really well. Thank you. But it's kind of similar though. Voicing for animated series and all of that is similar to the work we do with Telltale, at least. But there's not like a huge difference. We go into the studio, we make magic, and then we leave. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? He's like, I'm out. Oh no, battery.
No.
Do it. Here, I won't talk.
So right when he turns it on, you go, and that's how.
The meaning of life.
Are you Harry Dresden?
Yes. Thank you for it.
Hey, that's what I do. Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. What else should we babble on about? the air conditioning and how awesome it is.
Is anyone actually here for my panel?
How much?
Sweet.
25? Oh.
Because we're doing it now, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gavin Hammond.
Hi. I'm still here.
Gavin, tell us how you got started in the voiceover industry.
Really?
Just tell, I mean, your story is fine. It's like, I went to high school with my agent. It's not like the best story ever. So, like,
mine
I
is
know.
also not the best story ever.
No,
So I grew up watching cartoons, Looney Tunes, because back in the 70s, pretty much everything was syndicated. So I watched a lot of cartoons and just always did voices and never really had any idea that that was like a calling or anything like that. Not that it was, but, and I would do accents just walking around the house. I don't know why. I watched a lot of Monty Python, and I watched a lot of Benny Hill, and I watched a lot of Mel Brooks movies, because in the 80s, everything was acceptable and funny. Yeah. And then I was in a band for a long time. I played drums and traveled around. And when that ended in 2000, I was working in construction, and I was literally digging a ditch up at the Lawrence Berkeley lab doing an electrical installation for an industrial contractor. And my dad called me and said, there's a woman on KGO who has a voiceover school. He's like, and you should listen to it. So I turned it on, and her name was Samantha Paris, and she had a school called Voice Tracks in Sausalito, California. And I was like, huh. I mean, I was obsessed with The Simpsons at the time, where I would literally videotape and watch The Simpsons probably about, this was, you know, when I was in a band and had very little else to do besides make poor choices in life and watch The Simpsons. 18 and under panel. And it was something that it never really occurred to me that those guys were voice actors. You know, I knew that three guys did, you know, all of the male voices, which I thought was amazing. And so I went to this school and took classes, and, you know, it was sort of difficult because I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I still kind of am. But it was just something that I never thought I would be able to do sort of straight, you know, commercial stuff or just sort of natural things in my own voice. And I gave myself, you know, I took classes and it was frustrating and whatnot, and nothing was really happening. My wife told me that I had to give it 5 years. She's like, give it 5 years, and if it doesn't work out, then you can stop. And it was like 4 years and 9 months that our agent, her friend Nate Tico, said like, hey, what's your story? And I was like, I don't really have a story. He's like, well, you should come in and start reading for us. And so I was happy to do that. And then booked a job within a couple months. And then 2 years or so after that, I threw another class, because I went to this school and just took classes with agents and producers, people that could hire me. I learned early on that taking the classes from actors was helpful at first, and then you got to that point where it was like, okay, so I feel like I can do it, so I want to find, you know, a way to do it. So I was taking classes with people that would hire me or would send me copy. And I got signed with my agent in Los Angeles, sort of the same way, where there was a class that was like, you know, you win the class and you get to go to Los Angeles and read for them.
Prize.
And then they signed me the following week, and so I've been with them since about 10 years now. So that is my story. It's boring.
It's not boring. Doom and gloom, everybody.
This is a question for both of us. We got to hear a little bit of fun times now, and I know it's more about, you know, you as a voice actor, but what were, let's say, what were your favorite lines that Kenny's done, like the most memorable to you?
So the most memorable, and I probably can't perform it because it was well, yeah.
Every other word is.
Pretty much every other panel where I've ever done is FU, but because it always gets the laughs. And a funny story, it was like season 2 when we were recording, for whatever reason, like the last 3 or 4 of the whole episodes, after every line I would say that. I don't even know why, and they thought it was hilarious. Julian thought it was hilarious.
Looks like everyone's here above 18 if you want to give it a shot.
No, I don't want to break the rules. I can be clean. But my favorite line was probably like, take them, take the kids, which I can't really perform, but I mean, just doing the voice from that, oh, come on, Lee, you know, or something like that. But, you know, bourbon. But for me, it was my favorite line was take them or take the kids. I don't know which one they used because we recorded both. But that was my favorite scene to perform. Felt pretty good about that. I like that one a lot.
Selflessness.
What's that? No, I just loved it, you know, because it was tough. That season was tough because it was like, we started and it was like, yeah, he's crazy, so you got to have, and we had a few times where it was like he had a really weird laugh, you know, like in that campfire scene, or whatever the scene is in that little sort of cabin where he laughs a little too hard and too long, and they're okay. Crazy's too high.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they
Something
actually.
has changed.
I don't play the games that I work on, so I don't really know what's implemented.
He just, you know what, don't even ask him that, because it'll just piss me off.
Yeah, sorry.
I get so angry
I
at
don't
him for
like
that.
hearing. I don't like hearing things I work on.
Such amazing
video
performance.
games, just
Is
because
his performance not amazing in the
Yeah.
water? Thank you. I'm like, dude, you haven't even seen it?
I have not. I'm very critical, so
He is.
very self-critical. So for me to hear it, it's I'm thinking, oh, why did they use that take? Why did they do this? My accent's slipping. This is that.
I suck.
Yeah, I'm bad at this. No, initially when I started doing this job, like I would have a job and I'd be like, well, that's probably the last one. I'm gonna go get a job.
And then he works
I'm gonna
like
go get a job in a
jobs
soup
a
kitchen.
day.
Yeah, I don't do that so much anymore. Harry.
This was the question. I had a friend from Florida who wanted to come down and see if she could make it.
Oh.
She loved your character Kenny in The Walking Dead. She wanted to ask, this is a two-part thing, but either way. There's the scene where Kenny's baby goes missing and how it felt to have to act out that scene, like just in that emotional moment. And just in general, like having to do it for such a long period of time, what it felt like as he progressed.
Well, see, that's a great question because he was like, initially he's just like, oh, you'll get spiders in your hair. You know what I mean? And he was just like happy-go-lucky guy, like he's got everything.
The guy with
he's
the
got
book.
his wife,
He's got a book.
his kid. Oh, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you know, I assumed from the beginning, it's like, okay, so I would go into every session, I'm like, so how do I die? And they'd be like, you don't. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like the third episode, it's like, so how do I die? And they're like, you don't, but everybody else does. And so that was tough. I really didn't know that there was going to be that kind of emotional roller coaster. I didn't know that I could do that sort of thing. So
When she went to certain parts of the movie, like her story, she actually had to pause the game and stop. You did that little bit.
right on. That's awesome to hear. No, I mean being able to. And I get after the first season, I would get a lot of emails from dudes that'll be like, "You made me cry." Good. You know, and I mean, I don't know, to have that kind of emotional impact, you know, in a video game for all of us just was incredibly moving. And I mean, how satisfying for most people that, you know, and they were like, most of the reaction I would get, or that we would get, would be, this is the first time I've ever cried at a video game. And so we were just like, awesome. We are in some small way like breaking ground on providing emotional content in a story. You know what I mean? It's the writing and the story and whatnot. But those sort of emotional moments were difficult because I didn't know they were coming. You know, so they'd be like, okay, now you're just bawling. You're just crying because everybody's dead. You know, I think I got better at it. You know, in the second season, I think I was able to convey it a little bit better, probably because, you know, some bad stuff had gone down in my life, and so there was more pain for me to tap into. But you know, I didn't know I could do it. So anytime that people tell me that I did, I'm thrilled that it came across. Because again, I don't know. You know, I do it, and I don't want to watch that scene because I'm going to be like, I don't buy it. So it's like, how can anybody else buy it? So, I don't know.
Well, it's really good.
Thank you.
Take our word for it.
Venom.
I'm really only familiar with YouTube from the Walking Dead video games, but I was wondering if there are any characters you have in particular next that you're really attached to.
All right, so for me, I really loved were you in a Vampire Town?
I was.
So for me, I was this Scottish, like monk in this game called Vampire Tale. And so for me, I loved it because it was Scottish. And it's just, oh no, a vampire don't just roll up to you and say hello. You know, for me, that was tons of fun. I like comedic roles. You know, I mean, emotional roles are cool, but I always feel pretty kind of vulnerable and sort of not so sure I would want to say that that's a favorite. You know, I mean, I would much rather just have fun and have a good time. And you know, some of the League of Legends champions were a lot of fun. I play a lot of grunts, you know, like in Dead Space. Oh, Dead Space 3, I was a robot DLC skin that you could buy that would turn your, basically me doing a bad C-3PO. That was super fun. So there's a video on YouTube if you search for me in Dead Space 3 that's funny. And Adam Harrington made it. And it's just, he says things that are great. And I like the comedy because, I mean, I think I'm better at it than other things. What are the characters? What characters resonate with you besides Clam?
Besides Clam. God, there's so many. I really enjoyed being Trixie Trotter in Back to the Future. I'm staring at you because I'm guessing because you know so much about Telltale games.
He's the Telltale man.
I used to work with them, so.
Oh, what?
I did some of the marketing for some of their games and some of the news for some of their earlier stuff.
Okay, right on. Trixie Trotter was fun just because she got to sing.
And she worked in a nightclub, and she was, you know, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but she was really sweet, you know.
That's a pretty good Audrey.
Audrey.
It is Audrey from Little
Yeah.
Shop. That's kind of right.
Great, now you're telling all my secrets.
Super.
Cataloging voices, you know.
Were you going for a very 40s accent for that?
What was that?
Were you going for like a 40s?
Well, it was just kind of, I don't know, like a New York kind of.
Yeah. I never had a chance to play all three.
She's just ditzy nightclub singer, you know, the typical blonde bombshell type thing.
Trixie, after
Trixie
all.
Trotter.
So yeah, it's kind of that like older New York kind of thing going on. But there's so many characters. You know, it's very, very grateful to be doing what I'm doing. As I'm sure Gavin is. It's so much fun to go into a studio and see this awesome artwork of something that's going to be animated and brought to life, and you get to put a voice behind it. So I feel just grateful for basically any job. I don't really walk out of a studio. I mean, there is some of that stuff he's talking about, the corporate narrative. I mean, those are the jobs that I'm
medical narration.
Yeah. But again, grateful to be doing it because I'm getting paid to talk.
Yep.
But yeah, there's so many characters that have been just amazing. It's hard to really name one. But she got to sing, and I like to sing. So. Sir?
Just to go back for a second, we was kind of talking about some of the cursing that was in Walking Dead and everything.
Yeah, there's a little of it.
I mean, I really like the game and everything, but was there a reason why they wanted to make everything so profane for most of the entire game?
Because they didn't have AMC saying you can't say that. It's real, man. I don't know. I personally hit this for the 18 plus panel. I curse like a truck driver.
It'd sound a whole lot like the game.
I'm just my mouth. I can't help it. It's just a real thing. I mean, there are people who don't use foul language, but I mean, most of my friends and people I know are, you know.
We're from California, so we can say anything on TV.
I'm from Missouri originally. My friends there are the same. It's real. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh gosh, darn it. You know, that zombie. You'd be like, I mean, you would literally be, I would. Maybe somebody else would naturally just be like, booey.
But we're profane people.
So Walking Dead was on like Stars or Showtime or HBO?
It would.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Could get, oh yeah, the scene
Probably
between,
the violence would be the
scene
same,
between
but
Jane and Luke would have been interesting if it was on Stars or HBO.
That would have played out a little bit, if you know what I
Clementine
mean.
would have walked into something she maybe might have been like, my eyes! Birds and bees, kid. So I just think it's just natural. It's a really stressful, dark environment. And
it's rated M for mature.
it's
you know.
rated M for mature. Yeah, so
That's what they won't do.
I think that's why, just the natural course of things.
Yes, ma'am.
She said that this kind of came to mind. If Clementine were to learn that from either Kenny or Lee, which one do you think would explain it better?
Oh, Lee, no question.
Yeah, Kenny would be
would
like,
explain
"Ah,"
it real bad. Gotcha. Oh, I don't know.
You just put the thing in the...
When a bird and a bee or... Oh, how's that go?
Yeah, Kenny would maybe not be... Lee would like have a nice like...
Kenny would have like a...
That was early Kenny.
Try to draw it, maybe.
That was early Kenny. What would late Kenny do?
Oh, late Kenny would probably just tell it like it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't, certainly at the 18 and under panel, I cannot.
Yeah, Lee would be pretty eloquent about that.
Yeah.
He would give it
yeah.
a nice spin.
So, how do you guys pick up all these cool accents then?
Listening.
Yeah, just being that
Watching
weirdo.
too much TV.
Yeah, basically.
Monty
yeah.
Python.
Yeah, it just... Someone will walk by me on the street and maybe they'll have like a weird like like a weird laugh and it just soaks into my head. And like I'm very sensitive to like sounds and hearing people, and then I have this weird need to totally emulate what they did and try to match its tone. Again, I don't know if it's like, and I'm not saying, well, it helps to have like really good pitch, but I think with me, I do try to find, it's like I hear the pitches of where the people are with their voices and certain accents and, you know, all over the world, and I don't know.
I studied linguistics too.
He actually did study linguistics.
Because I wanted to be a voice actor, and I was like, theater, phonology, that's where it's at, dialectology. So I can write them out, which is, I guess, kind of helpful in some way. I never do, but I've got new neighbors that just moved from North Dakota, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Listen to him
North
talk.
Dakota is hell. I lived there for too long, man.
Too long?
There's nothing up there.
Under 18 panel. We don't use the HE double hockey stick in here, sir. Cool man, sure.
What is your favorite accent to do?
I would walk around, and I'm not going to do it here. I've already probably done too much, but I would be quite content to walk around for the rest of my life speaking with a Southern accent.
Yeah.
Probably Texas, because he's sort of southern, kind of rural Texas, because that's probably what I'm better suited to do. Or Scottish. I was in an elevator once. I was on tour. In an elevator, it was loading or something like that, and the bouncer was obviously Scottish because he was helping me load. And I said something to him, and he's like, "That's no bad." And I thought he was going to kick my effing teeth in. But so I felt vindicated by that. So Scottish or Texan?
Yeah, I like British. I as well. I'm from the Ozarks, so I can do
She turned
that.
it on and off like a faucet.
I know the plane like lands, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey y'all, I mean, it's just any of those. It'd be better for me to say the accents that I'm not good at doing.
South African, it's very hard.
South African,
New Zealand is tough.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah.
Had an audition printed out. It's horrible.
Can you do like a British hick voice?
Well, a British hick would be like Cockney.
Yeah.
Right. Huh? Aye?
Or Somerset accent.
Where's that?
It's basically the accent that became the pirate accent.
Well, anyone can do a pirate. And why wouldn't you want to talk like a pirate? The problem with my pirate is it gets loud. I can't do it too much. But I just spent a long time talking like a pirate, and it was some of the best weeks of my life.
Yeah, pirate.
Got to sing like a pirate. Oh, man.
See, now I kind of want to ask you to do Kenny as a pirate.
Well,
yeah.
It's not that, they're not that far apart.
Yeah. We have apparently 5 minutes left, so.
Oh no.
I know. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
2:30.
Wait, what?
What?
2:30.
We have another panel?
At
2:30.
Oh.
We're going to say all the same stuff we've already said.
I don't know anything. I know nothing.
Try to come up with some new questions.
Yeah, I know, right? All of you have to come up with new questions.
We got no new answers.
Oh no.
A two-part question for each of you. One, how do you think Lee would feel about Clementine at the end of season 2? Do you think do you feel that he would think that she could taking care of herself and make good decisions throughout. And for you, do you think how do you think Lee would feel about how things went down between you and Clementine at the end?
I think he'd be proud of Clementine. I think he would be
disappointed
like, I did well. I taught her well, because obviously she's actually far superior in many cases than a lot of the adults she's hanging out with, as far as smarts.
No, he'd be disappointed.
All of them,
I
pretty
think
much.
He'd be disappointed in Kenny, no question.
They're all kind of bumbling around and making stupid decisions, except for Clementine. I think he'd be happy with her.
Disappointed in Kenny.
So do you think if Lee was still around back when, at least by the end of season 2, he just popped up for whatever reason?
As a zombie?
Let's say Ghost.
Okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, a la Star Wars.
Do you think he would have tried to take out Kenny?
Yeah, probably. I think he would have seen the rot in Kenny. I think so.
Rot.
We try. I mean, that's what they wanted. They wanted him rotten. So we tried to make him rotten.
Did you have a question back there before we close it? You?
Who wants to be last? Anyway. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm like forcing people to ask, but ask it like that.
Go ahead.
I got one more.
All right.
Like on those late night talk shows, you always have a lot of the actors and actresses from movies and TV shows, but I don't really see that many actors and actresses from video games. Why do you think y'all get excluded so much? Because I mean, you guys do a lot more work than a lot of TV shows and movies.
Well, you can do a lot more VO in a day. You know, you can do 4 or 5 VO sessions in a day.
I think that the voiceover industry, well, a lot of the voiceover industry is being taken over by, on-camera actors, which, whatever, that's a whole nother conversation. But I do think because of how huge the video game industry is in particular, like it actually makes more money than Hollywood does as far as cinema.
And music combined.
And music combined, it's crazy. I think that voice actors are actually starting to have a place in that.
It's definitely
We'll see more.
changing.
There's a lot more recognition of voice
like
actors.
Troy Baker. Well, we got Troy Baker. I mean, people actually are starting to get
Yeah, there's definitely more recognition of, you guys are here.
Yeah, thank you, by the way, everyone who showed up.
All right, Harry, last question.
One last question, just for fun and kicks and everything. I know when you guys get into the studio, you guys are doing the voices, you get into character and everything. But of course, there's always that moment where you go off kilter on the line, the line gets recorded wrong, and you laugh it off or whatever, or you might keep it for an outtake or something like that. Did that ever happen, with recording, dead or any other sort of?
Oh, I'm sure that Jory, the guy, Jory Prune, who's the engineer on most of that, or most of it, if not all of it, was engineered at his studio, either by him or Tim Galida, or Joel, I'm not sure what Joel's last name is.
There's lots of outtakes.
And there have to be, because I mean, they usually just roll the whole time. And I mean, we'll be doing outtakes where I was like, Luke, pretty much after I would say a line, shut up, Bonnie, or something like that, where, you'd be responding to somebody who's nasty. There have to be.
For
But
me,
where they are, I don't know.
If I made a mistake as Clementine, sometimes I would roll into it with the voice and keep talking. But for me, if I mess up, sometimes I'll switch out, because obviously we're vocally not.
Yeah, we usually,
but there's lots of,
we can turn it on and off.
There's good stuff.
I don't have to stay in character or anything like that. Because there's all kinds of weirdness happening here all the time.
All time.
So, all time in here
all
has
time
all
crazy
weirdness now. So yeah, it's pretty easy to just switch it on and off.
I think we have to boogie.
Switch it off.
Yeah. Thanks again, everybody, for coming.
If you guys want to come and hear more, they're going to be at main events at 2:30, and also they have autographs to talk about tonight.
The lovely and talented Hannah.
Yay. Awesome. Outbreak.
Would you want to ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
I was picking myself up on my way up here because I forgot something really important. I got this piece of fan art that had Clementine looking kind of sad, and it had in the text of the game at the top.